Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Raj Sabha TV. Today we bring to you the Supreme Court judgment on child trafficking, which bans employment of children in circuses. To discuss the issue, I have with me Mrs. Neena P. Nayak, member, NCPCR, and Mr. Amod K. Kant, General Secretary, Prayas Juvenile Aid Center. Now for the headlines. The Supreme Court has banned employment of children in circuses. The Juvenile Justice Law shields children from death penalty and life term. And the law provides for protecting children in need of care and protection, but the implementation is weak. The Supreme Court has banned employment of children in circuses. The court has also directed effective implementation of the Juvenile Justice Law in order to rehabilitate such children. The direction was made in a petition filed by Bachpan Bachao Andolan seeking ban on use of children and their rehabilitation.
According to the petition filed by the Bachpan Bachao Andolan, every year around 7,000 Nepali girls are trafficked to India. Of these girls, most are minors. Every year, about 44,000 children go missing and around 200 Indian girls are forced into prostitution daily. In response to the petition, the Supreme Court has banned employment of children in circuses. It has also asked the government to conduct raids in all circuses to rescue children and check if there is violation of fundamental rights. According to the direction, the rescued children have to be kept in care homes until they attain adulthood. Not only this, the government has been tasked with the duty of talking to the parents to explore possibilities of the children being returned to their homes after proper verification. The government has also directed the government to frame rehabilitation schemes for the rescued children.
Despite the fact that trafficking and forced labor have been prohibited in the Constitution of India itself. So we realized after a research that we had undertaken on Indian circuses that there were absolutely no policies governing the circuses on one side and also governing the state of the children and girls especially who were being trafficked for forced labor from all over the country as well as from Nepal.
The petition also sought proper implementation of the Juvenile Justice Law (JJ) Act and setting up of child welfare committees. In response, the Solicitor General suggested uniform standards of the child welfare committees (CWC) across the country. He also recommended immediate trial of all children languishing in jail under the Juvenile Justice Law. The Solicitor General also suggested appointment of officers for proper implementation of the schemes. He recommended proper coordination between the administration, legal aid and the NGOs. He said childline services should be activated for children in distress making, the district magistrate responsible for proper functioning of the number. He suggested preparing of a list of the adoptive children under the Shishu Griha scheme and making it mandatory for adoptive parents to submit reports of the child to the district judge so that action may be contemplated if the parents fail to do so.
A member of a juvenile justice board who is supposed to adjudicate the offences committed by the juveniles is paid only 120 rupees per sitting. What are you asking? You're asking someone to adjudicate on a matter, on a crime which may even relate to murder, and you pay 120 rupees per sitting as your travel allowance as well as other allowances. Is that what you are looking for? If you are paying 120 rupees, what kind of justice are you expecting?
The judgment includes a report of Ministry of Child and Women Development in which it has accepted the failure of child protection institution. According to the report, the lack of coordination among child-related agencies and lack of implementation of policies are the reasons for poor performance of child protection institutions. Many children are trafficked every year for commercial and sexual exploitation. These children are in urgent need of care and protection. Therefore, the Supreme Court directed the government for proper implementation of the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act. With camera person Gajendra, Subina Roy, Rajya Sabha TV.
The court has given broad guidelines for protection of children over and above the laws that already are existing. How easy or difficult will it be to implement? Ma'am, the straight question on implementation. Other things are fine. We've got too many policy issues. I mean, all policy guidelines, policy documents, Juvenile Justice Act, Supreme Court judgment, not one but several judgments trying to, help the child and protect the child, rehabilitate the child. Where are we on the implementation front?
See, our problem is that we have very huge numbers. The magnitude is huge. 170 million children, by the government's own acknowledgement, need of care and protection in difficult circumstances. Now, most of these instructions, directions and all that come from the top, from the state. It comes from the state, at the national level, goes to the state and then it starts percolating. Now the problem is the need is at the ground. It is at the panchayat level, it's at the ward level, it is at the inner city level, where we have this huge number of children who are out of school. If you look at the number of adolescents in our country, we have about 100 million, almost 80 million are not in school.
Right.
So where are they? So what we have to do as intervention is at the lower level. So another thing is we don't have capacity, we don't have skills, we don't have personnel, we don't have. You're talking about a new scheme that has been introduced to strengthen the implementation of the law, the Juvenile Justice Act. That's called the Integrated Child Protection Scheme. We have only about 400 crores given to that, budgeted for that. And we just have 10,000 people to take it across. And that whole Juvenile Justice Act is got a welfaristic approach and it is not a universal. There's no principle of universal. Sanity is not reaching the last child. Those who enter the system, if you see children in need of care, and if you see children in conflict with the law, about 32,000 children enter the system. The others may be another 1 lakh because we have homes across the country. Yeah. So these numbers that we are touching is not even a drop in the ocean. Huge numbers require state intervention. Huge numbers will require hand holding. So at the implementation level, it's absolutely dismal.
You're running a juvenile aid center. So what is your experience in this matter? Are we anywhere close to achieving what your organization seeks out to achieve?
See, I can enter on the issue from 2 perspectives. One perspective is Prayas perspective, where we have got nearly 237 centers across 80 states of India. We touch upon about 25-30,000 children on day-to-day basis, which includes 21 homes also, which has juvenile home, children home, shelter homes, etc. And let's say we cover X number of children and try to provide them care, protection, education, vocational training and all that stuff. Nationally speaking, what Neena said just now, first of all, I would like to endorse whatever she said. And I don't want to repeat that. The last reckoning, one figure was 35 million actually. I mean, the Ministry of Women and Child Development talked about 35 million children in the need of care and protection a couple of years back. And that point of time, the total number of children who could be kept in all the homes of India was just about 35,000. 35 million, 35,000. See the figure. Let it be very clear, first of all. In the public mind, generally,
the name of the law should change.
No, the name of law is for some other reason. The name of law, it's through parliament only it had to be changed.
I get it.
Because the name of law is for the reason that the union government could not have formulated law then on the children's name. It was a state law. So it became a national law on account of that constitutional problem. Okay. It is Children's Act. It is Children's Act primarily. Now the issue is that the total number of, let's say, there is certain mechanism laid down which people must understand. See, number one, there has to be Child Welfare Committee, which she talked about, Juvenile Justice Board for juveniles, child protection units in each district of India. Every district of India should have a juvenile home, an observation home, a children's home, a shelter's home, a child protection unit and a child helpline 1098.
So five infrastructures.
And a special juvenile police unit, 6. I'll repeat it. A special juvenile police unit for police, Child Welfare Committee, Juvenile Justice Board, Child Protection Unit and Child Helpline and homes, which are very, very important. Now, all the homes put together in the country could be covering about 90,000 children. Whereas the number of homeless children, the nowhere children, the children in extremely difficult circumstances is decidedly not less than 2 crore. So now can you see the gap? And again, Neena talked about the Integrated Child Protection Unit. The ICPS is like the counterpart of ICDS for all the children up to 18 years of age. Now the issue is that ICPS in 11th plan, we formulated it and we really worked for it. We got it finally. For 3 years, there was not a single penny. And let me inform you, I mean 3 years of third year of the 11th 5-year plan, we got 30 crores, 60 crore, 150 crore, 250 crore, and now she says 400 crores, maybe 350 crore. The estimated amount, the projected amount for the ICPS, which is meant for implement this law and to scheme, now should have been 2600 crores. Can you recall, Nina? It was 2600 crores.
In today's day,
it is hardly 300 crores.
No, how much that 2600 crores that you're saying was a while back. Today, what should that figure be?
If you want to implement this law, if you want to create that infrastructure I am talking about, you need annually 2600 crores, which is like ICDS. It is a flagship program. So the government has to express its real strong will that they want the children to be looked after and protected. The Supreme Court judgment concerns these children only. Circus children are a very small part of it. Missing children are a very large part of it. I mean 100,000 children now, according to government estimate, are missing annually.
Right.
I mean, and they are nowhere. So we have to create the situation, change it completely. Okay.
Time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we will talk about some of the provisions of the Juvenile Justice Law. Welcome back. The Juvenile Justice Law shields children from death penalty and life imprisonment. It also clears the provision to protect, clearly provides for protection of children in need of care and protection by establishing children homes.
The Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Law protects children involved in serious crimes by stating that they ought to be sent to special homes or a protective custody. The law also clearly states that such children or juveniles can't be kept in detention if it exceeds the period related to the kind of the offence committed.
Due to the vulnerability of children in crime situations and also misuse of children in terms of, between law enforcement agency and the way they can be used as witnesses, they can be pushed to accept a crime. So in that sense, the International Convention of Child Rights came about to give proper protection to the children, and the age was determined as 18. Following that, India also passed a Juvenile Justice Act.
Let's take a look at the provisions of the Juvenile Justice Act. It seeks to establish juvenile justice boards (JJB) by state government in all districts to deal with children involved in crimes. The board consists of one judicial magistrate and 2 social workers having experience in activities pertaining to children. The law also prescribes observation homes where children are to be kept for preliminary inquiries, care, and classification according to his age. There is provision of special homes which is to keep and rehabilitate the juveniles after this sentence has been pronounced. The law states that juveniles arrested by the police have to be kept in special police juvenile unit, and the designated police officer is required to report the matter to the board. According to the law, if a juvenile is found guilty of an offence, the court can allow the juvenile to go home after proper advice, make him participate in group counselling or community services. He can also be asked to pay fine if he is above 14 years and earns. He can be released on probation of good conduct. He can be sent to special homes in case of a juvenile who is over 17 years but less than 18 years for a period not less than 2 years. In case of other juveniles, it will be the period until he becomes an adult.
There is little awareness on the juvenile justice among the judges at the lower judiciary level in the more coastal areas. There is no awareness among the police officials about the juvenile justice system, and of course there is no awareness at all among the security forces of the central government of India who are deployed in states like Chhattisgarh, Northeast or Jammu and Kashmir.
The law also facilitates shelter homes and children homes in need of urgent care. The process of rehabilitation and social reintegration must begin during the stay of the child in a children's home. In case the child is an orphan or abandoned, he will be sent for adoption or foster care, sponsorship or an aftercare organization. After the 16th December rape incident where a juvenile was involved in the crime, people demanded death penalty for the accused. But the Juvenile Justice Act protects juveniles from life imprisonment and death penalty, keeping in mind their right to life. With camera person Gajendra, Subina Roy, Rajya Sabha TV.
We are now just on the aspect of the criminal part of the entire child protection activity and the policy. So we will now take on that issue. As far as the number of children who have allegations pending on them, who are already facing trial or who are in certain homes, can you give us a head up on the number of such people?
Let me slightly correct the entire situation just in a word.
Yeah.
You know, number one, that it is juvenile justice system. This does not really, terms like arrest, terms like remand, etc., trial is not applicable. It is simple disposition if somebody is to be convicted. And trial is not there, it's proceedings. I mean, these are the words used.
Yeah.
Now, coming to the issue, let me clarify that there are a lot of misgivings. I think media must clear it. The number of children who are being apprehended, for instance, in this country, last 2011 was only 33,000, as against 11 lakhs in USA. Let me clarify, 1/4 of India's population.
Yeah.
So number is not all that high. The total number of crimes committed by children in this country, of that only 1.5 crimes are committed by the children below 18 years of age. So India is not a criminal country so far as juveniles are concerned.
Right.
It is being exaggerated beyond a point.
Right.
That is very, very important.
Right.
Secondly, you know, the law is very clear. The law is very clear. There are all ample provisions, as you have shown already. We have juvenile justice boards, we have got homes and things. Number one, if the law is not being implemented, the problem is not that of juveniles. It is not juveniles. It is with the system. We have failed. We have failed.
Will of the government.
Will of the government, and civil society also has failed. Probably these commissions have failed, the child welfare bodies have failed. So now the issue is that we must create those basic conditions so that these children who are there, they can be looked after. Now, if you look at the law, Juvenile Justice Act, see, in the Juvenile Justice Act, the aftercare program is very well defined. Any child who commits a crime, there is a complete system which is absolutely progressive. On the 18-year story, you know, I would like to just make a small point, if you permit me.
Yeah, please do.
See, on the 18-year, there are many reasons why it can't change. Number one, India being signatory to UNCRC, Beijing Rule and Riyadh rules, and we having changed our international law into a domestic law.
Yeah.
If we change this law, we have to go to the UN system. We have to take their concurrence. Why have we changed it? Why are we changing it? Secondly, 18 is the point of adulthood. Once you don't allow the child to plead his case in the court of law, he cannot engage a lawyer, he can't own property, he can't marry, he can't do anything before 18.
Yeah.
How can you change the age unless you again entitle him, empower him to become an adult? You get the point.
I get the point.
So it is
Absolutely.
possible to change only when you first of all make him adult at 16. Only they can fight in the adult court. And throwing the child into a normal court, throwing the child into, let's say, in a prison house, I think is absolutely absurd. It's not happening anywhere in the world. And then so all things put together, a consensus has developed already. The government of India has taken a view also. And the minister herself announced it, that they intend to keep 18. 18 was a very well thought situation. And then of course the problem lies, we came to a complete consensus in that meeting and otherwise also, that the problem lies again on the implementation of law. If Juvenile Justice Act is properly implemented, things can be corrected. And it is not such a big issue as being projected. Yes, this particular incident is horrendous. All of us unanimously condemn it. If this boy has done anything which he is said to have done, first of all, nothing established. It has to be established. Haven't appeased the issue also. Let the court decide. Let the court decide.
I get the point, sir. Ma'am, coming back to the implementation part, do we have JJ boards all across?
Yes, we have JJ boards. We have about 640 districts. They're supposed to be in place.
No, but you have to be clear. You have to tell us whether it exists or not.
Yes, in every district, what happens, there is supposed to be one principal magistrate who's regular from the judiciary, and there's supposed to be 2 members who must have some social work background and psychology, etc. What we see is, even though they say there are about 600 established juvenile justice boards, sometimes there's one member And these members are supposed to be well oriented with the juvenile justice system. Sometimes they are lawyers, sometimes they are other professionals. They are not very familiar with the system. The law has been structured so beautifully where you have one judicial officer, you have two others, and these two members have a huge role to play. Look at the social circumstances, the background, the psychosocial effect of why is this child entering the JJ system into the Juvenile Justice Board? These 33,000 children that Mr. Amod Kant was talking about. Now, if you look at these children, the background, the deprivation, the abuse, the violation that they have experienced. Even this boy, what we have learned from him is almost from 7, 8 years old, he's fallen off the family, the umbrella of the protective umbrella of the family. So this guy has started working at 7, 8. This little boy has started working somewhere else at 12. And most of these children are very vulnerable. They're easily influenced. And even if you look at the crime rate among these 33,000, if you look at the heinous crimes, they're a very small percentage, 20-22% among
of the entire 33.
Yeah, 33. Okay. And these children are not doing it singly. They're always in a group. They don't have the guts or the courage to do it, courage to do it alone. So that very clearly proves that these children are influenced easily and they're also amenable.
The government ever, when pointed out, I'm sure this is not the first time you've done
it. Lots of work.
What is the stand by the government as far as hiking the budget is concerned?
See, what happens is the budget for children is segmented. It goes into health, it goes into social welfare, it goes into SJE, it goes into different ministries. So let's get them all together and see exactly how to see. It's possible that the same support is going. I mean, children are taking it in different schemes. So first and foremost, we need to have one ministry looking exclusively for children, even if we have different ministries. Look at the Labour Department. Labour Department, which is so involved in labour issues, that's also looking into child labour.
That way I agree.
This has to
multiplicity of execution. It's time for us to head into a break. When we return, we will show you an interview with Senior Fellow Institute of Social Sciences, Shankar Sen. Welcome back. My colleague Subina Roy spoke to Shankar Sen, Senior Fellow Institute of Social Sciences, and tried to get his perspective.
So what is the reason that even after the passing of the Supreme Court judgment and the Juvenile Justice Act, why is immoral trafficking so rampant in India?
Virtually, there has been not much check at all. You can look at the Suppression of Immoral Traffic Act. Most of the state governments give it a low priority. Very few cases are registered. I remember I visited West Bengal and I found that very few cases, 20 or 25 cases were registered in a year. I told them so many cases should have been registered every day. This is a low priority, and I would also add lack of political will.
So with retrospect to the recent rape incident which happened where a juvenile is also involved, so don't you think the Juvenile Justice Act is acting as a shield to prevent the juveniles who commit serious crimes?
I don't think it's acting as a shield. The present Juvenile Justice Act is a progressive piece of legislation. And also to raise the age of the juvenile to 18 is also a correct step. But I think some modification is called for. In such cases like this, in that grey area between 16 and 18, some of the juveniles behave like adults. The discretion of the court should be there. Whether he should be treated as an adult, that discretion should be there.
So do you think that we need to relook at our Juvenile Justice Act?
Basically see what are how the provisions of the act are being properly implemented or not. And then discover what are the loopholes exactly. So some kind of evaluation, how the act is operated on the ground, what steps are called for, may be thought of. One, for example, this case which has come, where the juvenile behaved like an adult. Whether in such cases, court should have exceptional cases, court should have the discretion or not.
The bottom line is 400 crores is not really going to help in any way in the implementation of the Juvenile Justice Law. But to get the final perspective from our panelists here, ma'am, one point that you would like to make in this entire scheme of things which we've not been able to cover.
revamp juvenile justice administration, get in people, the bureaucracy who are interested in doing it, involve civil society. And now we're talking about it won't work at the national level, it's not going to work at the state level, even the district level. We'll have to start at the block level. That is why the children, maybe block is one layer higher than the panchayat and this thing, but let's start there at least, district level, and let our child welfare committees, let our juvenile justice board have presence there. You cannot sit in the district, in one isolated part of the district in the capital city, very metro-centric, and get people, children to come in. You will have to be outreach. You will have to be proactive. So let's get committed, dedicated officers who want to work in the system. Let's not put their foot into the Women and Child Welfare Department or Social Justice Department and look around and see whether finance sector is available, whether infrastructure is available. Let them come wanting to make a change. And let's bring civil society is ready. I can tell you, I know that civil society is ready to get in, but there's a lot of resistance from the system. Why don't district administrations open their doors, open their windows, open their cars, travel with civil society, get ideas from them, partner them, and I'm telling you, if you give a sense of responsibility to the civil society, and duty bearer is the state, it is ready to take it up. Yeah. Why are we not doing? Look at what young India has done today for this brave heart. I think we need to bring them more into the system. Then there'll be more transparency and greater accountability. That's it.
Mr. Khan.
No, first of all, I entirely endorse whatever Neena said, and then of course I definitely am for the implementation of law, because law is very, very comprehensive, very, very expansive. It is a model law for the world. Let us not regress from this situation. Let us carry it on forward. That is one. Secondly, I would like to say that on the contextual part, on the present situation, on the case of this juvenile particularly, while thinking the worst has happened, now the law provides, and let me specify for the people concerned, Section 15 and Section 16 of the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act 2000. 15 provides for 7 different types of dispositions, the decisions that can be taken by Juvenile Justice Board, and the last one being that the child can be sent to a special home for 3 years. That is one. Section 16 is very important because 16 provides for special care for the child. A child can be kept in an isolated place in a very special kind of situation. And what differential treatment we are trying to get for the children between 16 to 18 is very much provided within Section 16 of Juvenile Justice Act. Let us follow that. Let us not try to change the law. Changing law is no solution at all. Let's not do it now.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am, for joining us on this discussion. It's time for us to end the show. You can email your suggestions and comments to law.rstv@gmail.com. You can also watch our shows on the YouTube. We'll be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.